On News Hour. Organized labor pickets Abuja Airport. Aviation Minister condemns protest. Clash between Fulani and vigilante group leaves 2 dead, 7 in Niger hospital. Unemployment on the rise as economic downturn persists. On the foreign scene, Israel agrees to 4-hour daily humanitarian pause in Gaza. Hello and welcome to the News Hour on Trust TV. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for joining. Now, protests by members of the organized labor has disrupted traffic leading to the Abuja International Airport as part of the series of actions by the unions in reaction to the attack on the NLC President Joe Ajaero. Members of the Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress mobilized their members for the protest at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja on Thursday. The organized labor gathered at the airport around 8:58 a.m. to enforce their directive to members working in the aviation sector to stop all flights to Owerri, the Imo State capital. The protest is part of a series of actions that the 2 labor unions say they will zero in on Imo State following the attack on the NLC President Joe Ajaero. The NLC and the TUC declared a nationwide strike which will commence on Tuesday, November 14th, also because of the face-off with the Imo State government.
They don't say though. The organized labor has blocked International Airport Abuja. No going out, no coming in. Everywhere is stuck, stand still.
In the meantime, the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, has faulted the Nigeria Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress protest at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja. Labour had on Thursday morning blockaded the airport owing to its face-off with the Imo State government after the president of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Joe Ajaero, was attacked last week. The move grounded activities at the airport, leaving many travelers grounded. But speaking at an aviation retreat in Warri, Delta State on Thursday, Keyamo faulted the move and questioned why the unions target the sector. While the minister identified with the labor movement, he called on the protesting unionists to sheath their swords in the interest of the nation. Now, joining us via phone is Nigeria Labour Congress National Organizing Secretary, Comrade Nasir Kabiru, to discuss on the labor protest. Thank you so much for joining us on the News Hour tonight.
Yeah, good evening, viewers and ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
Good evening.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Many people are wondering that this incident happened in Imo State. Why escalate the whole matter into the whole country, now seeming to be very disruptive?
Well, really, if you can, I don't want to go back to the scenario, but you may recall the incident that took place in Imo, where the NLC president was attacked. And this action cannot remain in Imo alone. It has to consume the whole nation because the president of the NLC is the president of the Nigeria Labour Congress. You will agree with me that we have our branches across the whole 36 states and the Federation of 36 councils, and which I feel most of you can understand that the branches we have across the whole nation is headed by the NLC president, Comrade Joe Ajaero. So we find it very amazing as a whole president, such kind of barbaric act what happened to him in a country where we claim to practice democracy it's actually unfair. So not even the president alone. I think he was attacked with some of the labor leaders that came from different affiliates of NLC. So if such kind of attack will be made to the leaders, we think they are attacking the labor as a whole. So that is why we feel the president is the president of the whole Nigerian Labour Congress. So we have to establish the whole protest to the whole country.
Okay, now there's going to be an election in Imo State on Saturday, and now that the NLC has declared strike in that state, aren't you concerned that the strike is going to impact negatively on the conduct of that election?
No. This protest has nothing to do with the strike action, with the election. This is a strike action. When Hope is misbehaving, nobody thought of election. Even if the Ajero is now late, I think that was when Nigerians will begin to ask why and when did that happen. But issue of election has nothing to do with our protests. We have said it happened. It is unfortunate that it happened at the eve of the election. So we cannot hold our hands and wait until after election when issues like this has happened. We don't react immediately, and then I don't think we are helping the situation. So this strike has nothing to do with the election.
Are there any changes in plan ahead of next week nationwide protests, and what do you have on the table at the moment?
Well, that lies on the government. If they want us to withdraw action, and so I think it's better they come out and address this issue immediately. Nobody is praying for Allah. But since that is what they want, I think we're up to the task. We cannot just hold our hands and some certain, what we call it, a group of persons to kill our president, and maybe they were trying to kill the labor movement. We don't know their plans. So for us to fold our hands and begin to watch such acts, I think it's unfair. Okay. So actually, it lies on the government. If really they want us to end our protest, then they should do the needful. So we cannot withdraw actions when we have given our demands. So it's not for the government to draw the attention of the Inspector General of Police to take a kind of drastic action on those that misbehave.
All right. Well, Comrade Nasir Kabir, the Nigerian Labour Congress National Organizing Secretary, thank you so much for joining us on the News Hour tonight and sharing this update.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right. Now, moving on, 2 persons have been confirmed dead while 7 others are receiving treatment at a primary health care center following a clash between Fulani and operatives of a vigilante outfit at Beji Weekly Market in Boso local government area of Niger State. The incident, according to residents, happened during the peak hours of the market with activities at full capacity. Abubakar Akote reports.
The disturbing development has caused unrest in Beji community. The assistant head of medical services, Beji Primary Health Care Center, Aliu Yusuf, while confirming the development, says 9 victims were brought to the hospital with various degrees of bullet wounds, saying that 2 have been confirmed dead while 7 are responding to treatment. They came to meet us in our shop, but before they came to meet us, we had gunshots and people were running. We started running too, and vigilante followed us and shot at us. All of us in the hospital were shot by one of them, and we didn't know what caused the confrontation. We have been here for years. Even our parents were born here. Vigilantes have been harassing and maltreating us. If they see our children, they arrest them and maltreat them. and nothing has been done by authorities. Residents in the area have emphasized the need for restructuring of activities of vigilante groups to ensure effective management of security matters.
And the issue of banditry is issue that is affecting, tormenting everybody's life today. Both the Fulani and Gwagi people, they are all victims of circumstances of the banditry. So for that, what we can do is just to bring them together to know the Boso local government belong to all of us. The Boso local government, we don't have any other place than Boso local government. So for that, we should not destroy our land. We should not destroy where we have, only the place where we have. So I'm soliciting for all the people of Boso local government to become police. We are on top of the situation.
While discouraging revenge or reprisal attacks, the commissioner says an interactive engagement will be facilitated by the government to address the concerns of all parties involved, with the aim of engendering peace between Fulani and Gbaji farmers. Abubakar Akote, Trust TV News, Mina.
Now, the newspaper industry in Nigeria is facing economic challenges that is impacting the activities of newspapers in the country. Picked by the rising cost of production due to foreign exchange volatility, the Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria on Wednesday called on the federal government to revive the 3 government-owned newsprint mills to reposition the sector. The report.
Newspapers proprietors are speaking in unison regarding the challenges facing 3 government-owned newsprint mills, which has greatly impacted the sector. The Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria said the factors militating against operations of Nigeria Paper Mill Limited located in Jeba, Kwara State, Nigerian Newsprint Manufacturing Company Limited, Oku Iboku, Akwa Ibom State, and Nigerian National Paper Manufacturing Company Limited in Ogun State need to be addressed by the federal government to ensure sustainability and quality service delivery. NPAN's President Kabiru A. Yusuf, speaking in Lagos during the annual general meeting of the association, says the restoration of the newsprint mills will minimize the current pressure on the naira.
The press economy, unfortunately, sometimes people even lose their jobs. So it's not even the issue of improving the current conditions of work or salaries. Sometimes the press economy can kind of create a situation where people lose their jobs. We don't want that to happen. And that's why we are trying to see what is it that we can do, maybe internally to help ourselves, and to also ask the government if there are some mechanism they can do to help the industry.
Briefing newsmen on the outcome of its meeting, the association's publicity secretary says the meeting focused on the economic and administrative challenges affecting the print media sector in the country.
We spoke a lot about our production materials, us competing demand with dollars and, in purchase of newsprint, ink, and some other production materials. And we also spoke about the extreme rise in prices. Over and above what we can phantom. By the time you hear the rates are this tomorrow, it goes double the price. And then you know that the revenue is not coming in like that because a lot of people cut down on their advertising budget. And then we're also facing taxes from the government, from us, different places. So it really makes survival unbearable.
During the AGM, new members were elected into the Executive Council. The elected officers include the publisher Business Day, Frank Aibogun, as Vice President, the Chairman, Punch Newspaper, Angela Emuma as the General Secretary, the publisher, Daily Times, Fidelis Anosike as Treasurer, and the Managing Director, New Telegraph Newspaper, Ayo Aminu as the ex-official member. They were all elected unopposed. Some of the 7 Executive Council members were returned unopposed, including Kabiru Yusuf as the President and Maven Alex Ibru as Deputy President. Others are Ray Ekpu as Council Member, Wadiotsu Ihe Kanwa as Public Secretary, Prince Dennis Sami as Council Member, and Azu Ishiekwene as Assistant General Secretary. The daughter of Olawale Edun and Muhammad Idris, who are now ministers, resigned as members of the Executive Council. The association's life patrons Nduka Obaigbena and Olusegun Osoba were present at the AGM.
The streets of Nigeria's capital, Abuja, remain inundated with criminal activities despite the efforts of the police to restore law and order. An attack by criminals in the early hours of Thursday in Utako has led to the death of a yet-to-be-identified taxi driver, unsettling residents as insecurity festers across the capital city. Trust TV's Dorcas Yakubu has more.
It was an unusual morning for residents of the area following the discovery of the lifeless body of an unidentified man around Ansarul Islam National Mosque, Utako, Abuja. According to eyewitnesses, the body was covered with stab wounds upon discovery. The attack, according to residents, may be connected with muggings by criminals in the area who ambush passers-by to rob them of valuables. We came out of the mosque today in the morning and saw the lifeless body with cuts all over it by the road. We learned that the victim's car was snatched by the perpetrators. According to the admin head of a vigilante group, the deceased's car, mobile phone and other valuables have been taken away by the perpetrators of the act.
So bayan mun tashi aikin karfe 4:30 da misalin karfe 6 saura sai aka kira mu kan cewa wani abu ya faru ta nan wajen Yoruba Muslim nan.
We usually close around 4 a.m. So today at about 6 a.m., we received a call from an individual informing us on what has happened. On arrival, we found the body of the victim covered with stab wounds. His car and other belongings were snatched by the killers. We figured the victim was a taxi driver because we found tickets on him. Although we couldn't identify him, we immediately called the police and they responded swiftly and left with the cops. The death of the unidentified man has further worsened security concerns among residents who fear the government is not doing enough to guarantee safety of life and property in the FCT. When contacted for comment, the police could neither confirm or deny the incident. Dorcas Yakubu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
With less than 48 hours to the election on Saturday, the Independent National Electoral Commission has kicked off the distribution of sensitive election materials in Imo State. Imo is one of the 3 states billed to take part in the off-cycle elections in Nigeria. Ajibade Praise reports.
Conducting the distribution at the Central Bank premises in Owerri, the National Commissioner Kenneth Ukeagu, alongside the resident Electoral Commissioner Professor Sylvia Agu, and other senior officials, permitted political parties to inspect sensitive materials to confirm its integrity before commencing distribution to the local council areas for Saturday's election. On ground to monitor the process are the security chiefs, observers, media, among several other stakeholders in the state.
The work is still ongoing, but so far we are done with it. There's no problem. All the materials are here. We're just going through them, checking them, and trying to allocate them by the government. So usually we have mechanism to take care of challenges, any kind of challenges, not limited to sensitive materials. This is an election. Anything can happen at any point in time. But we have the mechanism to take care of some challenges.
The chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, Mr. Levi Eke, commended the transparency of the process by INEC. The IPAC chairman also called on voters to come out on the election day and vote for the candidate of their choice.
Well, my advice to Imolites is there's no need, to tense up. There's no need for any tension. The election definitely will go on fine and there will be no problem. At the end of the day, I'm sure Imolites are going to elect the person that is going to lead them in the next 4 years. So there's no cause for alarm. Everybody should relax. And concerning the issue of lockdown, I want to believe that there will be movement. People will go out and go to their different polling units and cast their vote.
Security teams were attached to the dispatch of the sensitive materials to local council as Imo joins Kogi and Bayelsa State in voting for a governor on Saturday 11th. Ajibade Praise, Trust TV News, Owerri.
Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Kaide Egbetokun, has appointed Tunji Disu as the new Commissioner of Police in Rivers State. The IGP has also redeployed Nwonyi Emeka from Rivers State to the force headquarters in Abuja. The redeployments were announced in a statement by force spokesman Muyiwa Adejobi on Thursday morning. The IGP also ordered new postings for 14 Assistant Inspector General of Police and 24 commissioners. The redeployment of Emeka from the Rivers State Police Command and the posting of Disu to the command followed a political crisis that rocked the oil-rich South-South state last week. The Kaduna State has a rich history built on order and progressive development for decades. The culture of organization and discipline is being undermined by a growing health and environmental crisis across the metropolis. In this report, Trust TV's Bello Musa captures Kaduna's waste management crisis.
Just a few years ago, Kaduna residents were taking pride in the beauty of the city center and metropolis after the urban renewal and beautification project by the state government. However, months after the beautiful scenery became popular with locals and visitors, Kaduna metropolis is now looking old, dirty, and unattractive due to indiscriminate refuse disposal. This heap of refuse is located between a primary school and a primary healthcare center at Ungwersenusi, a great risk for public health in the community.
It affects our health with through malaria, because when the refuse is here, all the time you'll be seeing people going to the hospital to get treatment.
This refuse is affecting us in this community, especially the hospital and school. It is worse during rainy season because of the bad odor. In the past, they used to evacuate it, but now it has reached to this level. We don't know why they yet to evacuate it. In Tudunwada, this location has been a dumping ground for the community, despite its close proximity to a school. According to community members, the state government began evacuating the refuse only to stop along the way. They started evacuating the refuse, but they stopped along the way, and we don't know why. We are calling on government to monitor the evacuation of this refuse. When they started, we were happy, but they abandoned it. The waste disposal crisis is undermining the well-being of residents who say the government needs to step in and mitigate the phenomenon. We are appealing to government to provide designated places for dumping refuse as well as provide refuse bin within the communities. Lack of refuse bin is responsible for this indiscriminate dumping of refuse by the people.
We are not happy at all, but we are pleading to the government, if there is anything that they can do about the refuse, they should please try and come and do it. Because as you can see, there is a primary school beside it. After the primary school, we have primary health care beside it.
My call to the government is to look into our plight. Behind me is a school. Mosquitoes are too much in our community because of this refuse. Efforts to reach the administrator of the Kaduna Capital Territory, Samuel Arwan, for comment were unsuccessful. For Kaduna State to restore its lost glory as a bastion of progress and development, This menace cannot be allowed to fester for long. Bello Musa, Trust TV News Kaduna.
You're watching the News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up shortly. As purchasing power goes down, small businesses struggle to stay afloat in Jigawa. Join us again for more.
As a demonstration of its commitment to provide sustained access to basic healthcare for all Nigerians, the Federal Government of Nigeria, through the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, NPHCDA, has established the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund, BHCPF. The Basic Healthcare Provision Fund is designed to deploy Operations Fund directly to primary healthcare facilities in every political ward nationwide to ensure the availability of quality PHC services to all Nigerians, irrespective of where they live or work. The Basic Healthcare Provision Fund guarantees 24 hours availability of midwives, other health workers, and health supplies in at least one PHC in every political ward. Ask from your local government health department for the BHCPF PHC in your ward to get more information and benefit from the services. Think access to healthcare for all. Think universal health coverage. Think Basic Healthcare Provision Fund. This message is from the Federal Ministry of Health and National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, NPHCDA. For further inquiries, call the NPHCDA toll-free number 7722 or visit www.nphcda.gov.ng.
It may not look it, but Zamfara is quietly raging. It is the explosive focal point of northwest Nigeria. Across 14 local government areas, bandits have been unleashing mindless violence.
We need presidential intervention in Zamfara State. Our governor is doing his best. Our own part, we are doing our best. We need federal intervention. I repeat, we need federal intervention.
No area, no village, no ward, no district that is not affected. No hour, no minute, no second that you cannot see bandits moving around, attacking our people.
Over 200,000 people have been displaced, and over 6,000 deaths have been reported since May 2011.
What NAFDAC is doing is making sure we are safeguarding the health of the nation.
80 million people have been accounted for that have glaucoma worldwide.
The Nutrition Society of Nigeria is laying emphasis on exclusive breastfeeding of our babies.
The incidence of kidney disease in children has also been rising, with an estimated 1 in 10 Nigerian children affected.
And that sometimes those products contain things that could harm you more than you would expect. So you would have long-term damage which could affect your health over time.
Intermittent fasting indeed is beneficial.
Welcome back. You're watching the News Hour on Trust TV. Let's take a look at the top stories again. Organized labor pickets Abuja Airport Aviation Minister condemns protest. Plus, clash between Fulani and vigilante group leaves 2 dead, 7 in Niger hospital. In other news, the underperformance of Nigeria's ailing power sector has been reoccurred in Benue State as business owners and residents continue to face mounting power challenges. Decades of reforms are still yet to have the desired effect in meeting the expectations of consumers, as Jimmy Azande reports.
It is difficult today in Nigeria to find favorable feedback regarding power supplies as Nigerians remain dissatisfied with the performance of the sector. The below-par performance of power distribution in Benue State means households and businesses cannot rely on the national grid for their everyday needs.
Well, the power situation in Makurdi and in particular, my area is very, very epileptic. We get light less than 8 hours a day. So whether you like it or not, you have to look for an alternative source of power, which is very expensive. Buying fuel to run generator for 8 hours, it's very expensive. Most families cannot even bear the cost of running on generators.
While Makurdi residents decry the inadequate infrastructure in the power sector, the underperformance in the sector leaves much to be desired.
In the light in Benue, it's too poor. Because if you go everywhere now, some people know even transformer with some people in this Makurdi. Everywhere is broken because if you go there now, you can't even see any light. Like my place now, almost 5 months now, you don't have a single light.
Last 1 month, they've been rationing the power supply in my residence. We'd have light in the morning, and then from 5, they take it and bring it back like 10. That used to be the case. It has improved, but it's not where we want it to be yet. So, call on the government to keep doing what it's doing and then improve power supply, because power is a substructure of the economy. Without power, nothing would work.
The arrested development of Nigeria's power sector, despite huge public expenditure in region of trillions of naira, means Nigerians are not getting value for money. The privatization of national assets signposts reasons why Nigeria needs practical solutions for effective service delivery. Jimmy Azandi, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
The impact of Nigeria's current economic downturn is pushing more youths into unemployment as artisans and laborers face difficulty in meeting their daily needs. In Jigawa State, youths who make a living grinding grain say that jobs are no longer feasible as soaring inflation overwhelms their source of income. Adamu Imam reports.
Jigawa State has a large agrarian community that is failing to live up its full potential. This means well-paying jobs are hard to come by. So for most young unemployed youths, they rely on daily paying jobs to earn a living. But even these jobs are hard to come by because the economy has caused a decline in patronage. We are witnessing low patronage is due to the hardship in the country. In the past, we have so many customers that I may not be able to have this interview with you, but now the patronage is gone. But due to the present situation, the work is minimal. People find it difficult to even buy grains now. That is the reason for our downturn. The agricultural value chain is one of the hardest hit by the current economic climate, meaning people who usually have grains to process can no longer afford to do so, limiting patronage for people like Shamsu. We are used to bringing 15 to 20 up to 30 measures for grinding, but things have changed. now, and we hardly bring 7 majors in a month to go and feed as well. We are feeling the impact of high cost of living. Now to get money is very hard. We are used to paying 100 naira or 200 naira for grinding, but now it is higher because of fuel price. The price keeps changing, whether on national grid or power generator. The cycle of economic depression occasioned by subsidy removal and global economic downturn continues to disrupt the lives of ordinary Nigerians. So far, the hardship keeps multiplying. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Jigawa.
Nigeria is heading in the wrong direction, going by current socio-economic climate in the country as millions of citizens face debilitating poverty and endemic unemployment. This is the position of the Resource Center for Human Rights and Civic Education, which has criticized the Tinubu administration for failing to course correct and put Nigeria on a path to prosperity. Zainab Karai reports.
The socio-economic downturn in Nigeria is pushing many households to the brink as inflation continues to grow. The center believes the federal government is failing to adequately mitigate the prevailing economic challenges, which have compounded Nigeria's battle with extreme poverty.
Even more self-indicting is the excuse of bad roads, which the lawmakers have given as the reason they need such expensive vehicles. The National Assembly, by this position, has admitted that it has not been playing its role in terms of making laws for the good governance of the country. Because if it was, it would have properly supervised the ministries, agencies, and departments responsible for road projects over the years. Christ is also aware that the executive is also deeply immersed in the culture of wasteful spending of public resources. Therefore, we similarly condemn the recent unjustifiable provisions in the supplementary budget, which approved 7 billion to renovate the office of the president and the vice president, the residence of the president and the vice president in Lagos, and another 1.5 billion naira for official vehicles for the unconstitutional office of the First Lady.
The civil society organization expressed concern over the downward spiral of the Nigerian economy, stating that the Tinubu administration needs to show more capacity in formulating and executing policies that will supercharge Nigeria's economy. While speaking on the forthcoming off-cycle elections in Imo, Kogi, and Bayelsa states, the center called for free, fair, and credible process, while urging voters to show vote buying and select their governors wisely. Zainab Arai, Trust TV News, Abuja.
President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, says ministries, departments, and agencies that fail to appear to defend inputs in the 2024-2026 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper risk being sacked by President Bola Tinubu. The Senate President gave the warning at the opening of a 5-day public hearing on the 2024-2026 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper organized by the Senate Joint Committees on Finance, Appropriation, National Planning and Economic Affairs, Local Content and Foreign Debt. The report.
Senate President Godswill Akpabio, declaring the 5-day public hearing open, decried alleged frivolous expenditures by MDAs, particularly the government-owned enterprises.
That every head of agency invited to come and sit down and interact with the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria with a view to planning and strategizing on how this present administration can succeed. Any serious-minded appointee or any head of any agency that is interested in the success of President Tinubu's administration ought to be here.
He acknowledged that in view of the current realities, borrowing cannot be totally avoided but cannot be allowed to continue unchecked. According to him, achieving a balance to reduce budget deficit requires legislative work to look inwards towards increasing revenue generation and blocking of leakages.
Look into those legislations and see where they tend to conflict with the Constitution. It's a ground man. Tinker with those things and ensure that we have more revenue that will meet other obligations of government, not just allowing people to build and spend, and at the end, bring out what they call excess. So those agencies, don't be worried. We'll appropriate for you, we'll due to you, but we'll not allow frivolous expenses.
Earlier at the opening session, Chairman Senate Committee on Finance, Senator Sani Musa, who acknowledged the complex and challenging economic situation, said the 2024-2026 MTEF and FSP document represent a critical roadmap that charts the economic and finance courses of the country for the coming year 2024-2026. Also, on the fourth day of the public hearing, the Senate Joint Committee resolved to continue to investigate targeted at blocking revenue leakages and curtailing frivolous expenditure by MDAs.
An investigative hearing on the remittance of all revenue-generating agencies of government to the consolidated revenue account of the Federation, as well as the payment of the first stamp duty, 1% stamp duty on all contracts executed in all MDAs.
Revenue-generating agencies appeared before the Joint Committee and made submissions. Some of them, which are the leading agencies in terms of revenue generation, presented their projected revenues for the 3-year period of 2024-2026. Rashidat Yusuf for Trust TV News.
Meanwhile, at the Green Chambers, the Chairman House Committee on Finance, Honorable James Faleke, has called on the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to caution heads of ministries, departments and agencies under finance to respond to the House Committee's invitation in order to ensure the quick passage of the medium-term expenditure framework. Faleke made the call on Thursday at the committee hearing when most of the MDAs failed to appear before the committee. The report.
Recall that the President had on Tuesday last week transmitted the MTE-FSP to both chambers of the National Assembly for quick deliberation and passage along with the 2023 supplementary budget. But the response of the invited MDAs leaves much to be desired, as it does not seem to show the importance the President attached to the documents, thereby eliciting outbursts from the committee members. The members criticised the action of the Managing Director, Industrial Training Fund, for his refusal to honour the invitation of the committee and for sending a subordinate instead of appearing in person.
So, because you are speaking about issues, the duty of care that I know you have to discharge it is to the fact that what was your input into the document? Because when you come here, we expect you to speak to the document that you presented to us.
The thing I want us to establish is that letter written. We want to know who signed that letter, so as to know the level of respect that your agency even actually have for the National Assembly as a whole. Mr. Chairman, permit me to have a view of the letter. Please, who signed that letter? Who signed it?
The chairman of the committee at this juncture issued a warning while directing the President to call heads of MDAs to order.
So I want to make it clear that any delay arising for the passage of MTEF is surely not the fault of the National Assembly. And so we appeal to the President to direct all his agencies, ministers and all his agencies, to appear before us unfailingly. Thank you.
However, the managing director of Federal Housing Authority, Senator Olubenga Asafa, was asked to take a bow after defending the proposal of his agency, while the Permanent Secretary, Budget and Planning Office was given a new date to appear before the committee.
Displaced victims of violent conflicts living in host communities continue to face stigmatization and discrimination, leading to a dysfunctional relationship with other members of the community. A new approach, however, is being implemented in Adamawa to help facilitate social cohesion between host communities and displaced persons. Salis Lawan reports.
Adamawa State has a large number of displaced persons scattered across host communities in Malkohi, Yola South, Fufore, Gombe, Mubi North and South local government areas. The overwhelming humanitarian challenge is being complicated by a new social dilemma. The stigmatization and discrimination of IDPs is now threatening the coexistence of communities. This new approach and adoption of a social cohesion mechanisms, however, is designed to mitigate the phenomenon. Stakeholders across communities are now calling for a collective effort in promoting social interaction in affected local government areas to address communication gaps.
We all know that a lot of ethnic groups in Adamawa has also separated and have faced a lot of tension. So these IDPs are also living within the host communities, creating again a lot of social cohesion issues. So in this situation, IOM came together with local chairman to also look into how social cohesion can be built among the communities, among the IDPs.
In the past, you discover that some people are segregating themselves, more especially in the religious groups. This one is a Muslim, this one is a Christian, this one is a non-Christian. This program has done a lot in the lives of people here in Gombe, changing their lives, coming together.
The dysfunctional relationship between host communities, members, and displaced persons has negatively impacted the productivity of households.
So what we're seeing today is one of those components that is very important to help people stabilize, to help them integrate. But what is more significant is the cohesion part of it, where you have different tribes rediscovering their culture, the tradition, their unique values, and then bringing that together to also help the society get better. I think that's very important.
We shall embrace peace, because in terms of religion, even God himself, he made man and give man will to choose whatsoever he wants to do. So there is no need of trying to force one another to follow your own religion. So I am calling upon the people of Adamawa that we shall come together, unite together, and then make our country great.
Findings from the Mental Health and Psychosocial Support Regular Needs Assessment have shown that stigma and discrimination can militate against effective integration of people affected by displacement in host communities across Adamawa. Salis Lawan, Trust TV News, Yola.
Now we'll take business updates put together by Chiamaka Nwafo.
The federal government, through the Bank of Industry, plans to implement an on-lending financing scheme to support the adoption of clean energy solutions. This was disclosed by the MD CEO of BOI, Olasupo Olusi, at the ongoing AADFI-ADFIAP Joint CEO Forum in Abuja on Thursday. Olusi noted the need to ensure that institutions are resilient enough to attract affordable long-term finance through which green projects can be implemented. Olusi said that the BOI's project portfolio reflects a significant investment in renewable energy projects. The bank seeks to contribute to the continental ambition of 27% of renewable power generation by 2030. The forum gathers development finance institutions from Africa, Asia, and the Pacific, covering 33 countries across 4 continents. The bilateral trade volume between China and Nigeria in the first 3 quarters of 2023 increased to $17.25 billion. The Consul General of China in Lagos, Yan Yuqing, disclosed this at the China Commodities Expo Nigeria Lagos. The consul noted at the forum that Nigeria is also China's biggest contractor market and a major investment destination in Africa. She revealed that China's investments in Nigeria are primarily concentrated in the manufacturing sector with a focus on steel, automobiles, machinery, electronics and daily necessities. Finally, Bitcoin is at an 18-month high amid reports that the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, has a 6-day deadline to approve or deny ETFs starting today. Bitcoin price briefly touched $36,700 during the London trading session on Thursday. Bitcoin's value has increased about 31% in the last month and 93% in the past year. Other well-known digital assets are also in the green, with Ether up 20% last month. And that's it on the business news. I am Chiamaka.
On the foreign scene, the White House says Israel has agreed to put in place 4-hour daily humanitarian pauses in its assault on Hamas in northern Gaza starting on Thursday, as the Biden administration said it has secured a second pathway for civilians to flee fighting. President Joe Biden had asked Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to institute the daily pauses during a Monday call. U.S. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby said that the first humanitarian pause will be announced Thursday and that the Israelis had committed to announcing each 4-hour window at least 3 hours in advance. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken had warned Israel last week that it risked destroying an eventual possibility for peace unless it acted swiftly to improve humanitarian conditions in Gaza for Palestinian civilians as it intensifies its war against Hamas. In a blunt call for Israel to pause military operations in the territory to allow for the immediate and increased delivery of assistance, Blinken said that the situation will drive Palestinians toward further radicalism and effectively end prospects for any eventual resumption of peace talks to end the conflict. The Ethiopian army on Thursday regained control of Lalibela, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, following a pullout by a regional armed group whose fighters had overrun much of the historic town a day earlier. Fierce fighting broke out on Wednesday morning, with Fano fighters taking control of much of the Lalibela and pushing the army back to a base on the town's outskirts. Other details about the attack remain unclear, as media access to the region is severely restricted and government officials are yet to comment on the matter. Government spokesperson Legis Tulu had disputed the reports of violence on Wednesday, telling Reuters news agency that the city and its surroundings were peaceful. The Amhara region in northern Ethiopia has witnessed regular fighting throughout the year, raising concerns among residents and Amharas in the diaspora about the safety of Lalibela's rock-hewn churches dating back to the 12th and 13th centuries. The town is a pilgrimage destination for Orthodox Christians. Now time to take a look at sports updates with Adeni Ajishafe.
The 36th edition of Dalahad Court Tennis Championship will commence with preliminary stage from 10th to 12th November in Kano. Tournament Director Yusuf Derti said the main draws of the tournament will commence from 13th to 18th November 2023. Nigeria Tennis Federation has invited top 20 men and top 10 ladies for the main draw of the tournament. And in football, Nigerian Premier Football League Board has called on various clubs in the league to put adequate security measures in place across stadia. MPFL urged clubs to create a secured and enjoyable match venue for spectators, players and officials during fixtures. The league body said the security of all stakeholders involved is paramount, hence proper crowd control with designated areas for home and away supporters, collaboration with local law enforcement agencies to maintain orderliness to prevent overcrowding must be ensured. MPFL wants accredited security personnel to manage crowd with quick response to incidents, proper checks at entrance of stadium and to also communicate to fans list of items that are not allowed within the stadium to avoid fights. MPFL Match Day 8 will come up this weekend across Nigeria. That's Sport News. I'm Adeni Achishafe.
And with that, we wrap up the news hour for tonight. In case you've missed, you can always watch across all our social media platforms and also on our YouTube live stream. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for watching.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.